Hello, Maximus here with another live, or rather a commentary battle, quick battle, where I am playing as Egypt versus Athens, and I'm trying a new build that I wasn't too confident in, to be honest. It has a front line of 6 Egyptian pikes, which are cheap but very bad pikes. Flanks consisting of, the flanks are identical, so 2 Thuria spears, thorax swords, camel archers and Ptolemaic cavalry to ensure cav supremacy, and have some Suabek cultists for the scare effect in the center, Royal Peltas General and some Levi Thuria spears here to push up and force some engagements. Now, I've always had trouble using pikes offensively because they are not they are better than they were, but they aren't very responsive, and they kind of, you need your opponent to come onto your pikes, I find. That is really hard to do when I don't have the skirmishing advantage, so I'll just pause it. And my opponent has 3 units of archers, 2 units of Rhodian slingers, so a quite comfortable advantage. And these thorax hoplites and the thorax swordsmen on the flanks are also strong units. So my center is very weak, but I'm relying on being able to push back his skirmishers with these Thuria spears and then swinging around the flanks. But still, just judging by these army compositions, this will be a hard fought battle. He only has these citizen cavalry, cheap cavalry that can hold out for some time but don't get too many kills. And my Egyptian pikes will drop really quickly from fire, so I want my Thuria spears to take as much of it as possible. They are being engaged here by thorax hoplites, so I'm going to run them back and try to give attack orders with my pikes here. So now it's going to start. Pikes are getting attack orders here, but as you can see, they aren't able to just drop down their pikes and start fighting effectively. You can see they're doing some really weird things here when attacking. They're going around and following the center of the unit rather than just dropping down their pikes, so quite difficult to use effectively. On the flanks here, an engagement is starting. Thuria spears are throwing their javelins, citizen cavalry is getting smashed, and I'm relying on these spearmen and these camel archers to support the cav fight so I can win that one. Throwing in some javelins as well, and you'll see his citizen cavalry is almost dead. These Thuria spears will die soon as well, but here's the main thing. Egyptian pikemen really can't stand up to skirmishers, so already I'm losing 2 of these units, and that means my center is just crumbling, so I'm giving attack orders. We'll see how they do. Their pikes are down and they're walking, but here you can see some weird stuff happening. These guys should have had attack orders here, and now they are kind of forming into a V here and both attacking the same unit. So when you have a lot of things that need micro, like this engagement over here and this engagement over here, it's really hard to use pikes effectively in the center, I find. And here is charging citizen cavalry straight into my pikes, so thank you for that. They are getting smashed, but here my opponent can just go into the pikes, shoot them to pieces, and it's very easy to avoid the pikes, as you can see. These guys have attack orders all the way over here, and I have no idea why. Probably because I used group attack. And here thorax swords are getting peppered by missiles. I'm using heavy shot on my camel archers. Over here I'm engaging his archers with these Thuria spears, and they're killing them quite nicely. But my pike center is just crumbling, and I basically gave away that section of my army. So over here, my Ptolemaic cavalry, they are wavering because they got attacked by Thuria spears, so I didn't manage to cycle charge as much as I wanted with them over there. Over here, it's a bit better. I'm able to send my Ptolemaic cavalry around here to take care of his skirmishers, and my Thuria spears are pushing through to attack his skirmishers here, sending in the Levi Thuria spears. For the center, I'm quickly losing everything I have in the center, so I'm going to have to send in my Royal Peltas General soon, and I'm getting a flank charge on his thorax hoplites, but he still has picked hoplites coming in here, and this unit of Levi Thuria spears is going to get smashed as well. On this flank it's a bit messy. Ptolemaic cavalry is going to kill these citizen cavalry on the charge, and my camel archers are going to support this fight and kill some Thuria spears over there. So the flanks are stable at the moment. Over here I'm winning. Sending in the Ptolemaic cavalry to take out these skirmishers. These skirmishers are being killed by these pretty nifty Thurio spears. But as you can see, the pikes, because they had weird attack orders, they're not able to support the fight effectively. I should have had them here to support the fight, so I would be able to move around with my cultists and my Royal Peltas general, but that was not to be. He's getting some kills here, but he's up against some very strong units. I'm sending in the Levy Thurio spears to stop the rear charge from happening. And here he's able to bring in some more Thorax Hoplites, so these Sobek cultists, they are going to die fairly quickly. They're not particularly strong units aside from their scare effect. And here my Ptolemaic cavalry is mopping up his skirmishers. Some Egyptian pikes are getting lucky and attacking these Rhodian slingers, but they're able to disengage fairly easily. So over here, he is chasing me down with some Thurio spears, and I'm going to go for a little charge here with the Ptolemaic cavalry, just to stop them so I can get rear shots off from my camel archers. Our camel archers do not have a 360 fire arc, so they have to be microed more than other horse archers. Let's see how the Ptolemaic cavalry can do against this spaghetti line of Thurio spears. They're not braced, so they go straight through. And of course here I should just have continued to run, but since my attention is elsewhere, I am pulling out. Okay, so that's good. Yep, I'm pulling out. So I'm moving back to shoot at them, but the center is crumbling. His units are too solid for me to do much about them, and all my pikes are basically gone, and they didn't get a lot of kills. Royal Peltas are holding in the center, but they are up against several units here. I'm trying to move in at the flanks with these Thorax swords against Thorax Hoplites, trying to get some rear shots off with the camel archers. With heavy shot, they are shooting at these at the back of these Pikes Hoplites. You can see the arrows coming in there. They're just hitting the general melee there. And over here, the Thurio spears are getting shot by these camel archers. But I'm making a mistake, of course, in not pulling the camel archers back, so they are in range of the Thurio spears. Popping some abilities, but it's not looking good for the center here. He has a vast superiority of numbers. And these pikes, I have given them attack orders, but they are... I have no idea what they're doing, so I'm just trying to give them move orders instead. I try to make them move in and support the fight, but it's really hard to do. Pikes move really weirdly. Here you can see they have attack orders as well, but the attack orders are towards the center of the unit, which I suspect is causing some of the problems with their attack orders. If the center moves to a significant degree, they have to reorient their lines, and it makes them act in a very uncontrollable manner. But these camel archers were able to fend off the Thurio spears. The Ptolemaic cavalry, sending them in against the Rhodians to hopefully finish them off. This Ptolemaic cavalry has finished all his skirmishers, but as you can see, most of my units are wavering and his are not. So these camel archers are getting some nice kills on the Pikes Hoplites, but it's not nearly enough. And in the end, this infantry heavy build was infantry and skirmish heavy Athens build was too much for my Egyptian pikes to handle. And I honestly think this would have been significantly better if I just picked some standard infantry. As you can see, on 6 pike units I managed to get under 100 kills, so that's a massive waste, and they die very quickly to skirmishers. Some of the Levy Thurio spears were able to be used to some effect, but not nearly enough, and same can be said for the Thorax swords, the Sobek cultists and the Royal Peltasts. Because they weren't supported well enough and I forgot my cavalry on the flank, they didn't do as well as they should have, but this unit of Ptolemaic cavalry did fairly well. The camel archers did okay, I guess. But as you can see, the real killers here were the melee infantry, the Thorax swords, and the skirmishers also got quite a few kills between them. Rhodian slingers mainly killed these Egyptian pikemen, and his cavalry, I was able to neutralize his cavalry fairly easily, but I wasn't able to capitalize on the cavalry advantage that I got. I should have been more conservative with my Ptolemaic cavalry and went for rear charges. But still, I feel I got a bit stressed that my pikes did as poorly as they did in the beginning of the battle, and this is one of the reasons why I tend to shy away from pike builds, at least in this patch, because I feel it's so easy to. They need a lot of micromanagement, and if you also have a lot of micromanagement heavy engagements happening on the flanks and elsewhere, then it's just too difficult to use pikes effectively, and they just become sitting ducks. But keep your pin pan strong, fingers extended, and don't bend your wrist.